Today we're counting down the top Marvel comics of 1999. Today we're doing something special. We're not only going to look at the top 10 most valuable books of the year in the Overstreet Annual Price Guide, we're also going to look at the top 10 most graded books by CGC to show what's the most popular key books that everyone's getting graded and collecting. Here is the CGC official top 10 of the year. Let's go through the list. In 10th place with 165 copies graded, we have Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, number 1. This is the Dynamic Forces variant edition. Now we're going to learn a few more details. Let's see where it ranks in the Overstreet Price Guide. If you look around, you'll look and find it on the list. It is in 8th place for the year, and it also ranks 166th most valuable Marvel comic of the 1990s. Let's dive into my analysis of this book and learn a little bit more about it. Spider-Man has been relaunched with a new number 1 after running for 36 years with the original series. So we have a brand new number 1, a bunch of variant covers. It's 1999. Marvel comic sales are down at this time, so this book is not actually over-ordered. This particular variant from Dynamic Forces is drawn by the Romitas, black background cover. And this series was started after 441 was the last issue of the original first series. This issue features Green Goblin, the Avengers, Fantastic Four. Print run of this particular cover is estimated at 12,000 copies. On the census, we have 165 copies graded. There are 145 of them grading 9.6 or higher. Heritage Auctions has never sold a copy of this since the year 2000 that they've been selling comics weekly. And in the Overstreet Price Guide, we can see the book has been stalled for a few years. It's currently sitting at $18 for a raw 9.2 copy. In the guide, there are 84 9.8s and 61 9.6s. Next on our CGC chart, in 9th place, we have Hulk number 8. Why does this book make the list? It's a cool issue of Hulk battles Wolverine. Not the first time, but another iconic battle and key cover issue. It ranks 11th of the year, 235th of the decade. Let's learn a bit more about this book. Print run was 49,000 copies, showing that sales were definitely down for Marvel across the board in the late 90s. Ranks 11th of the year, 235th of the decade, 242 copies graded by CGC, 182 high grade. Heritage has not sold any of these. Overstreet Price Guide had a slight bump this year. It's now a $12 book, still very affordable. You should be able to afford 9.8 CGC copies. If you want to see what they're selling for, go check out ebay.com. On the census, there are 95 9.8s and 87 9.6s. In 8th place on the CGC census is another version of Amazing Spider-Man number 1. This is the Sunburst variant cover. Where does it rank at Overstreet? It ranks in 9th place, holding at $15, 191 of the decade. Let's go learn a little bit more about that one. So, very nice sunburst orangey tinted cover. The new ongoing series. Print run estimated of all the regular issues was 127,000 copies. Still pretty low for a Spider-Man number 1. Ranks 9th of the year, 191 of the decade, 262 copies graded, 190 high grade. Heritage has never sold a copy of this book. I think this is my favorite cover of them all, personally. Sitting at $15 in the Overstreet Annual Price Guide for a few years. There's 124 9.8s and 66 9.6s. On the census, in 7th place, Black Widow number 1. It's the variant cover. And this is a key issue and a wraparound cover. 301 copies graded on our list. And in the Overstreet Price Guide, we can see this one's doing pretty good. It actually ranks 4th of the year, 51st of the decade. It had a huge jump. This is just becoming a major key issue right now. Let's go find out why. It's the first full appearance of Yelena Belova. We also have a Matt Murdock appearance, wraparound cover and art by J.G. Jones. Print run for the two covers combined was only 67,000 copies, and this is a number 1 issue of Black Widow. It ranks 4th of the year in Overstreet, 51st of the decade. 301 copies graded, 239 high grade. Heritage Auctions has sold 1 copy of this variant cover. Overstreet price guide, though, massive leap. Look at this. In a single year, it has quadrupled even in low grades and gone up about 6 times in high grade in a single year. There are 159 9.8s and 80 9.6s. 6th place on the CGC census, Wolverine 145. This is the foil collector's item edition, 316 copies graded. This issue on the Overstreet ranking, you will see, is actually very low. It's been sitting at $5. It's almost a cover price book. Heck, you might find this in a dollar bin even. So no movement. It doesn't really rank. It's very low, just on a cover price book, but lots of demand, obviously, on the CGC census for it. Let's go learn more about this one. And note we will be talking about 2 different versions of this book today. So here we go. This is the regular classic cover. 145, the return of Wolverine's adamantium skeleton and claws. We also have Hulk and Sabretooth in this issue. It's a Bill Sienkiewicz wraparound cover. Print run estimated at 76,000 copies. 316 copies graded by CGC, 206 high grade. Heritage has only sold 1 of these books. In the Overstreet price guide, it's stalled at $5 in 9.2. On the census, there are 90 9.8s, 116 9.6s. On the census, in 5th place, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, number 1. Yet another cover, but this is the main cover this time. And note, this has a 9.9 on the census. And where does this book rank on our list? Well, there it is, cover A, sitting at $10. It currently ranks 12th of the year, 268th of the decade. Let's go take a peek at the cover for this one. Really nice, featuring many of the characters in Peter Parker's life. So there is a 9.9 copies. We saw print run estimated 127,000 copies, but that's for all the covers combined. Ranks 12th of the year, 260 of the decade, 431 copies graded, 393 of them are high grade. Heritage has never sold a copy of this cover. The book is sitting at $10 in the Overstreet annual price guide. There is 1 9.9 and 318 9.8s. Next on our list, in 4th place with 458 copies graded, we have Wolverine 145. This is the Nabisco variant cover. This book is extremely rare. It ranks as the #1 most valuable Marvel comic of the year in the Overstreet price guide, even 10th of the entire decade. And it keeps climbing every year. It's on a roll. It's moving fast. Let's go check out the cover of this one. This could be the rarest book on our list. The Nabisco variant, again, features the return of Wolverine's adamantium skeleton and claws. Print run estimated could be possibly only 5,000 copies for this Nabisco variant, which was sort of a premium mail-in comic. 458 copies graded, 250 high grade. Heritage has sold 3 of these. Black background cover makes this a tough one. $200 right now. And had a massive jump. It's been jumping literally every year for a while now. See, I have the wrong data here. I didn't input it correctly. On the census, we have 55 9.8s and 195 9.6s. Next on our countdown, already in 3rd place, we have Black Widow #1. This is the regular cover A, 473 copies graded. Where does it rank in Overstreet? Well, the book ranks in 6th place. First full Black Widow of the new Black Widow, that is. Let's look at a few more details on this book. We have another nice cover. And here we have Yelena Belova. We have, again, print run estimated at 67,000 copies, but that's the 2 covers combined. But keep in mind, cover A is usually a much higher printing, so cover B would be the rarer one. Book ranked 6th of the year, 473 copies graded, 360 high grade. Heritage has sold 2. Another black background wraparound cover. Overstreet price guide, massive jumps on this book. This book has 6-tupled in only 2 years in low grades. And high grade had a massive jump. It's now $28, sneaking up there. So now that means the CGC 9.8s are really going to start jumping. On the census, we have 239 9.8s and 121 9.6s. Next on our countdown, in second place with 711 copies graded, it's Inhumans, Volume 2, number 5. Where does this rank over at Overstreet? In second place as well. Massive jump this year. Incredible. Let's go learn more about that. So, Inhumans was relaunched. Here we have number 5 of the new series. We have the first appearance of Yelena Belova, but I think it's just either a short appearance or a cameo. But people want this one badly. So she appeared in the Hawkeye TV miniseries and the new Black Widow film. Print run estimated at 50,000 copies, which is still pretty low for a major key book. Ranks number 2 of the year in Overstreet and 20th of the decade. 711 copies graded, 523 high grade. Heritage has yet to sell a copy though. Black background cover. Overstreet, crazy jumps. 20 times jump in price in all grades across the board, leaping to an $80 book, meaning this book was basically a cover price for the last 20 years and now massive demand. And on the census, there are 287 9.8s, 236 9.6s. That brings us to the number 1 most important book on the CGC census. It is Daredevil, Volume 2, number 9, with 1,185 copies graded. It's also known as Daredevil 389 in legacy numbering. The first appearance of Maya Lopez, better known as Echo. In the Overstreet price guide, it has not yet caught up. This book has virtually no value in the current Overstreet annual price guide. Doesn't really officially make my chart. It's still a $4 book where it's been sitting for years. Let's go learn a little bit more about the big hyped book of the year and find out why. First appearance of Echo, who appeared in the Hawkeye TV miniseries and has its own TV show in development. Print run estimated only 73,000 copies. Tons of copies graded by CGC, including 954 9.6s or higher. Heritage has sold 2 of this now classic cover. Overstreet price guide, as I said, it's sitting at $4. It has not caught on to this hype yet. There are 669 9.8s and 285 9.6s. So that's the top 10 books on the CGC census. But now we need to take a closer look at the Overstreet price guide and see what books rank high in price but are low on the CGC census. So let's go through it quickly here. In 16th place for most valuable, Peter Parker Spider-Man number 1, relaunch with a new wraparound cover. It moved up to $10. We also have Amazing Spider-Man number 1, another variant cover. It's called the Matrix Sketch variant. It's quite rare. It's sitting at $10. We have Incredible Hulk 474 sitting at $10. It's the last issue of the series. Thor 12 has a Joe Jusko variant with a $10 cover price, and it's sitting at $10. Then we have the Peter Parker Spider-Man number 1 Dynamic Forces variant moving up to $14. We have Black Panther number 4 holding at $20 with the first appearance of White Wolf. And we have Marvel Milestone Edition, which is actually a reprint book, sitting at $34, featuring a reprint of Incredible Hulk 181. That ranks as the 5th most valuable comic of the year, but does not make the top 10 on the CGC census. Let's compare these books on the census and see if we notice any trends. Now, Daredevil, Inhuman, Black Widow, these are all major keys only in the last couple of years. So the CGC census has been flooded with these books only recently. Usually it's first appearance books that have been well established for years and years that have the most copies graded. So that's an interesting trend, which we're probably going to see start to happen now into the 2000s with key books. Surprisingly, only one book on the top 10 had a 9.9. And maybe more interesting than that is that the Daredevil number 9 had so many 9.8s and so quickly. 669 already on the census. Everything on the census, of course, is very fanboy oriented, kind of hyped up major superhero books, except perhaps the Wolverine 145 Nabisco variant. That's kind of an oddity because it is a key issue, but really it's up high on the list because it really is so hard to find. There you go, the top Marvel comics of 1999. We do this every week. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching.